This next section that we're going to do is easily the most complex we've seen so far. When you have full width rows like this, it's relatively easy to work with in the CSS. But as soon as you have multiple columns like this, it makes it a little bit more complicated. So just like before when we had one section that incorporated this whole area here, we're going to have another section which incorporates this area here. But now there's going to be two parts to it, two columns, and those are going to be separated by div tags. So we'll have one section that is this whole area here, and within that we'll have a div that takes up 50% of the width, and a second div that takes up another 50% of the width, and therefore it will fill up the whole screen as we want. So back into our HTML, and under the last class that the last section that we created, we're going to create, of course, a new section, and this time I'll give it a class name Duo. Now, as I was just talking about, we need to separate this into two columns, and there's lots of different options for how we can do this, but I'm going to choose to use div tags. These are generic tags for creating divisions somewhere on your website. We're going to have lots and lots of these different divisions, different types of divisions with different widths and so on, so I'm going to call this class col, short for column, of course. And then in there I'm going to create an H3 tag. The reason I'm not using an H2 tag is because the text in this section of the website is slightly smaller, so I'm going to default to an H3 tag, and I'll type in ASUS and the rest of the text as per the website. Then the next section down is even smaller, so I'm just going to use a regular paragraph for that section and add in the appropriate text. Then the next part of that div is the image, and this one is the transformer book. Okay, if I save that and go to our live preview, let's see how that's looking. Okay, so we've got the text that we need, and we've got the image that we need, but not the formatting that we need. We need this text on the left, the image on the right of the left half of the screen. So let's go back and add in the second div that we're going to use. So very much the same as the one we just defined, class equals col, because it's going to use the same formatting that the left hand column uses. H3 again, and I'm just going to pause the video while I put in the rest of the content. Right, so that content there is now in. We've got inside this section here, you can see the top of the section and the bottom in those places there. We've got two divs, this one here which opens and closes with this content, and a second div with similar content that we have there. In our live preview you see them on top of each other. We're going to change this so this is on the left hand side and this one is on the right hand side. So to do that we need to go to our CSS, and we're going to create some rules for the col class. First of all, we're going to make it width 50%. And if you check back here, you can see straight away with these blue lines that has made those 50% of the width of the whole screen. It still hasn't wrapped this one up here, and to do that we of course need to add the float left property. So now you can see this first one is floated on the left hand side of the screen, and this right hand one is floated left against that part there. On the main website there's also a background color that's a little bit grey, and there's a slight white border that goes down the middle, so let's put that in for now. We'll put the background color to grey, and I'll actually click in there, press Ctrl E and tweak that so I get a really light shade of grey like that one. And let's put a border in 3 pixels wide, solid, and I'll make it the white color. So back to our live preview, let's just click out of that so we get rid of those blue lines, and you can see we've got a nice border in between, and the grey background is still a little bit dark, so I'll tweak that, and of course we've got an issue with the height of that one not matching that one there. So let's tweak that color a little bit more, drag this slider right up, I'll close that down, and let's set the height of one of these columns to 300 pixels. Now if we have a look at our live preview, you can see we've got an issue with these images because we restricted the height of that column to a certain amount. These pictures are bigger than that, so we need to change the size of those images as well. So to do that, we're going to add a new set of rules for column and all of the images within those column classes. And we can set for that one a max height of 200 pixels. So now you'll see that they've been resized and they fit within that area that we had defined earlier. This section isn't exactly like the original website at the moment, but we're going to leave it like that for now. Later on we might look at how we can move this image to the right and the text down to the left, but for now we will leave it like that. So that will do it for this section. A little bit more complicated, but all we're essentially doing is dividing this section tag up into two parts and then replicating what we'd done earlier with these two sections above, but each one nested now within a different column, which we define as a class in our HTML and we style in our CSS. Get your website up to the same stage, and we'll see you in the next video.